At long last, after 3 years of work, our neighbourhood plan is nearing its completion. It's now just got to go through an examination and then it'll be up to the public in a referendum whether to approve it or not. I'm here talking with Sarah Newton, who's been our chairman for the last 3 years. And I'm going to ask her the questions that the members of the public are always asking me. The number one question has got to be, because of all the planning permissions that have been given over the past 2 or 3 years in terms of housing and retail development, is the neighbourhood plan not coming too late, and will it have any relevance to the future?
Absolutely not. It's true that Cornwall councillors have consented a lot of new retail space and housing space outside of Truro, really on the way to 3 Milestone. But no, this neighbourhood plan really makes sure that all future planning decisions really take into consideration the balance we want to achieve between social life, protecting our natural environment and creating new homes. It's not just about homes and retail, it's about developing a whole community.
Now, thank you, Sarah. Now, we've had an election recently. Is the new government as interested in neighbourhood planning as the old government was? We've worked very hard on this and people want to know whether it's going to have a lasting effect.
More so than ever. I mean, they were always an essential feature of our planning reforms, but just on Monday we're going to be having a housing and planning bill coming into Parliament, and it gives even more weight to neighbourhood plans and really looks at things that are particularly relevant to our neighbourhood plan, where we really want to see development on brown fields and as close to the town centre, using redundant sites as much as possible, bringing them to life. And really these new powers that will be brought in through this new legislation will really give us more weight for our neighbourhood plan and more opportunity to do the things that we want to see to make sure we've got a really sustainable, thriving centre of Truro.
Glad to hear that, Sarah. But with the recent government announcement of the increased rate of house building, people are still asking whether our neighbourhood plan, with its target for house building, will it be enough, or will the government still ask us to build more houses?
We're definitely not going to be ignoring the neighbourhood plan. It's true we need more homes. We've got an expanding and ageing population. That's really positive in many ways, but people want to have homes to live in, whether it's to rent or to buy. We need to build them. But still the neighbourhood plan has at its heart meeting local needs. And the plans brought forward by Cornwall Council, into which our neighbourhood plan nestles and fits, is all about identifying local needs and meeting that local need, and that is the level at which the numbers are set. There's no thought of imposing extra housing numbers at all. It's all about Cornwall showing that it's meeting its housing need for this year, next year and years to come.
Cornwall Council has approved a number of out-of-town retail developments recently. What impact will that have on the city centre?
I'm very worried about these decisions that Cornwall councillors have made, the scale of the out-of-town retail on the centre of Truro. But I do think there are things that we can do together to mitigate against that. We need to definitely invest in our independent retailers in the centre of Truro that make it so special and so vibrant. Cornwall Council has powers over business rates. It could look at discounting business rates to make sure those businesses are sustainable. Cornwall Council own key car parks in the centre of Truro, and I think a lot of us feel that sometimes those charges are way too high. They could have a really positive impact on the city centre by varying those by varying those car parking charges. What I really want to see Cornwall Council do is work with the very excellent Truro City Council and our really vibrant bids team to see what more they can do to make sure that we're keeping a vibrant town centre. Investments in the Hall for Cornwall are a really good example of how that can be done. Expanding the capacity there, making an even better venue than it is now, attracting in even better acts than we get, will draw more people into the town centre. There's all sorts of smart things we could be doing together if Cornwall councils accept their responsibility of making sure that they're doing all they can to support the centre of Truro.
Thank you very much for your time, Sarah. Now, the neighbourhood plan, we're preparing it now for an examination, which is an independent examination, and then we'll be going to the public for a referendum. And that will, we hope, be in the spring of 2016. And we'll be coming out with a lot of information for the public so as they can understand exactly what's in the plan, and we'd ask them to vote to pass it and therefore make it a planning document.